I keep dying. Welcome, everybody, this week to the Damage Per Second podcast. It's week number 66. That's 2/3 of the way to the number of the devils, so let's just be really careful. Actually, yeah, 66 is the number of the devil. Not to be confused with the devil. But still, you know, he's like 2/3 as bad.
2/3.
Yeah, so you go down there, it's pretty hot, but not like unbearably hot, you know. You get down there, it's like a humid 90. Unpleasant, but not like boiling like you would be if you were in Satan's domain. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's kind of irritating because you just find yourself walking around saying, is anybody else hot?
I'm feeling hot!
Reminds me of that classic tune from Iron Maiden. 666, the number of the devil!
One of their big hits.
Yeah.
One of their biggest hits, I think we can all agree. What a time to be alive.
Bunch of goofballs.
I know. I played something new this week, and I'm really proud of myself, even though it's a really old game that no one cares about anymore.
It was what, a real old game? You kind of cut out there.
Yes, it was an old game that no one's really played before, or that
Cool.
that no one cares about anymore. Excuse me. It's I played a game called 8-Bit Armies. I was like, oh, this looks like a casual RTS experience.
I've never even heard of it.
Yes. So it's kind of like a remade Command and Conquer, but it's very casual, and it's like the original Command and Conquer, but made it's recent. It's made with little blocks. It's a cute looking game. It's pretty fun, but it's strange because unfortunately, after you get to a certain point, it just gets way too easy. It's one of those games where it's not like you. In every game, you know, you get a new item and you become better. But there are a few games where, like, you get a new item and then suddenly, like, that's just literally the rest of the game. For example, so in this game, you start, you have infantry, you use infantry, then you can make turrets, and then you can make rocket turrets, and then you can make tanks, and then you can get different kinds of tanks and armored cars, and then about halfway through the campaign, you can make helicopters. And then from that point on, you do literally nothing except make helicopters, fly them to the objective, and snipe it and win. And that's every single mission from that point on. And
interesting.
Yeah, it's frustrating because, like, I guess I could restrict myself from doing that, but I think that's lame. And I'm not.
It's like, I feel like that's probably a problem that a lot of developers have. It's like, how powerful do we make our players? You know, and seems like they didn't exactly achieve it. How old is this game exactly? Like, I know you said it's old, but
it's not really old. It's maybe a year and a half old, but it's a nice little take on RTS again, like the old style Command and Conquers. But the reason I brought it up is specifically because I wanted to bring up this idea of, like, some games, and it's not just RTS. RTS is a good example of where it's very iterative, and then, you know, after each mission you get something new. But it's a lot of old RTS, and there's just other genres as well that do this, where they introduce something new, and it's just all you'll build from that point on, and I think that's really lame. And I just wanted to voice my displeasure with it. I don't know, it's kind of like, I don't have a good example, to be honest, but I'm trying to think of, like, in Pokemon, if you found a really good Pokemon, and you just could use them all the time, you would just never use a different Pokemon. Like, say you found the best Pokemon, why would you ever do anything else in the game except fight other Pokemon with the best Pokemon?
I feel that way about FTL.
Really?
Yeah. As I mentioned last week, like, you buy everything, so there's not that much randomness in it, and there's, like, one correct way to play for, like, maximum success, so you just do it every time.
Which is a teleporter, right?
Which is a teleporter.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, so I just wanted to voice my semi-disappointment. I actually stopped playing it because it was getting boring, unfortunately. And it's funny because I'm also, on my channel, I've been playing through, it's not Warcraft 1, but it's a Warcraft 1 remake in Warcraft 3. It's unofficial, and it's a really frustrating remake to play because it's really hard, but Warcraft 1 functioned similarly, where eventually you got these tier 2 level summons. You could summon these demons, you could summon these water elementals. And the second that they're unlocked, there's literally no reason to make anything else. And I assume in multiplayer, if there ever was for that game, I doubt it, but if there was, you would just, the first person to get to that level wins, because basically everything in the game has, like, 40 hit points, somewhere between 40 and 100 hit points. And then suddenly it introduces a unit that's free, that you summon with a different unit, so they're they're summonable, so you don't have to build them, and they have 300 HP, and they do like 5 times the amount of damage of anything else in the game. So you just think like, why? Like, who thought that was a good idea? It's just like ruins the entire rest of the game that you set up. I don't know. It's just very disappointing to me.
It's amazing, like certain points of failure a game can be like otherwise good, but they just don't balance this one thing right, and they don't have the foresight, and it just really makes the game, I mean, it suffers because of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of that Warcraft 1 remake, I almost finished it. It's funny because throughout the whole thing, it's like I was saying, it's been really, really challenging, and it's gotten to the point where like some of the missions, they take me like 2.5 hours because I'm constantly having to reload, and I just keep like starting and restarting, and I can't win. And I voiced my displeasure about this, and the map maker's gotten pretty defensive about it, so I've learned to just not say anything lest I start like a weird argument about it. And I feel bad because I did actually finish the map, but I was just fuming because I was so mad. So I looked at it, I'm just like, I can't release this because I just sounded like a lunatic, and I'm gonna have to just replay. I'm just gonna have to like re-record it or something, because again, I seriously sound like a crazy person.
I've like always wondered like what, you know, I mean, because when you put out stuff, generally you're pretty well composed, and you know, especially if you're playing like difficult games like Warcraft and StarCraft, or games that require a lot of like mental focus, and I'm just like, or games that you get pissed at, and I'm like, how do you fucking do that?
Yeah, this is a pretty good example, and it's easy because a lot of the time, I've done this before, where like if you're failing a lot, you just stop and you come back later, and you'll get through the hard parts a lot easier because you're more focused and you're not losing your shit. But this has been like non-stop. I've been on the cusp of stopping for a long time because I'm just like, I'm not even having that much fun with this. And a lot of it is because of the mechanics. It's not the remake. The remake is excellent, but the issue is just original Warcraft 1 was fucking awful. I didn't play it in 1994, and this is like the perfect case of showing where nostalgia is like the only thing that keeps a game propped up. Because that game is awful. And I love RTS, but the early iterations of it were terrible. Oh my god.
I've heard so much about Warcraft 3, I didn't even really know that there was a Warcraft 1, to be honest. I didn't even think of it.
I feel like logically there must be, but
like it's never ever spoken about, ever. It's interesting.
But yeah, I mean, I totally get that though, because sometimes I'll record something, and for the briefest of moments, I'll just think like, maybe I should just real quick just go back and see how this recording came out, and I'll listen to it, and I'll just sound like a raving lunatic because I just get so upset, so I'll like re-record it. But and not in like a haha Jayborino's mad, like I should release this because frustration is funny, but I mean like very angry.
This is concerning.
Yes, like yes, exactly. Like I am I'm personally calling someone like a bad creator or something. Like it's just bad. It's like personally insulting people and like, you know, straw man commenters and stuff like that. So I just you know, start again. But I'm sure there are people out there who would like to see that, but let me tell you, it's not so there are a lot of recordings of mine that will never see the light of day. They just never will.
You should, I don't know, you should put all those in, like, some secret folder, and then when you die, we can finally watch them all. You know? It's like, just see the sheer pain and horror that you went through.
Yeah, right. And I do make a point to keep times when I get angry. Like, again, a lot of times it's funny, especially if it's, like, real. But, again, sometimes it's like, it's like... scary angry, so I just leave those behind. Anyway, that's what I've been doing this week, getting mad at Warcraft 1 and playing a year-and-a-half-old game that I find balance issues with. Who's next? What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I find it interesting that the developers were tussling with you. You're one of their consumers or whatever. I don't know if you want to get into that, but...
Well, no, it's my own fault. Again, like, I kind of started bitching about how I found it was too hard. And the first interaction I had with the fellow, he's a very nice man, but the very first thing he's like, well, you're just really bad at this. I'm like, hey, you know, like, I've been playing for many years these things, so if I say that I find a custom thing challenging, it is, because I've played all of them. So maybe you're wrong in this instance, no offense, but you should maybe consider making some changes. You don't have to. It's your prerogative, it's your game, but I'm telling you, I find it too challenging. He's like, oh, but no, actually, you're pretty bad. So that was a great way to get a relationship off the ground. It's a very, very kind way to talk to a stranger by telling them they're, they're playing your product inappropriately.
That's funny.
Yeah, so that's the story there. Anyway,
Yeah,
I have
no,
communications with him now, and we're fine friends. But it was, again, it drives me crazy. I'm really happy that I'm just about done with it. It's nuts. But the last mission is a holdout, and it's 20 minutes long. And for reference, I played it 6 times. 5 out of the 6 times, I made it to about 6 minutes and failed. The 6th time, right before starting the podcast, I made it to 3 seconds and failed. And so that's why I felt the need to bring that up right now, because I am so pissed. And I'm just
3 seconds.
And I just thought, like, yeah, I should just use a cheat for these 3 seconds. And the last time I brought up using a cheat, the guy messaged me. He's like, "You better not use a cheat, goddammit." And so now I just want to do it out of spite for the 3 seconds, because I got the quick save at the 3 seconds of me instantly dying when I load the save. So maybe I'll do that. Anyway. Yeah, that's that. So, Keith, what have you been doing this week?
Oh my god, I wanted to talk about all my things. So many things. There's tons of them. Let me count them off. Thing 1. What else?
Thing 2.
I actually just finished when I started the podcast, because like I said, like I forgot until my little reminder goes off. It says podcast 7 o'clock. Okay, hop on. But I was in the middle of a Hearthstone game, and it was it was an arena match. And man, I really like arena. Like, I think I've said it a million times, I don't need to say it again, but that's where the game shines. And he was one of those assholes that somehow manages to be an asshole just using the pre-defined chat commands, which are like, thanks, greetings, like, well played, or whatever. That'll just like say everything sarcastically and do it over and over again. So like he played a secret, which is like a trap card, or you get the what it is. And then I play a minion, and it's like a high level minion, and then it summons one for him, and he's like, thanks, like it summons a copy. And then he played another secret, and I tripped it, and he was just like, well played. And I'm just like, fuck off. And then I fucking beat him. I came back.
Oh, nice.
Like, I just cleared his board like several times and beat him. And I just thought to myself, like, man, that's like the best feeling in a competitive game, when someone's being an asshole and then you beat them. And I imagine that must be what it feels like to like defeat someone in a fist fight. Like for like the 3 seconds before you're like, oh shit, I'm going to prison. But I was like, man, it's the best feeling. It happened like one other time I can remember, like especially in Overwatch, someone was just being like such an asshole on my team and saying I sucked and whatever. And I was playing Hanzo, and get off Hanzo and all kind. And then I stayed in the game, like we lost. And then I stayed in the game. The teams shuffled. He was on the opposite team, and I just wrecked him with Hanzo the whole game. And I was like, this is the best feeling in the world.
That's great.
Vindicating.
But, yeah, exactly. Feels so good. But anyway, I've also been doing, just casual Hearthstone, no big deal there. Been playing a lot of Mass Effect Andromeda. I'm really enjoying it. Just overall, like going to new planets and talking to the people there. I'm getting to the point in the game where I'm starting to like skip through the dialogue a little more, just like not because it's not interesting, just because like I'm like, all right, let's get this going, let's get this moving. And but my build finally like clicked a lot for what it was, like a combination of like a charge. You charge, you have an ability that hurts everybody around you in an aura and primes them for biotic detonation, and then an ability called Lance that you get it up to a certain level, and it's just like a you throwing a spear, like a biotic spear, but it can headshot, and you can get an upgrade where it uses your shields instead of a cooldown, so you can use it an unlimited amount of time, but it's risky. So I charge in, that regenerates shields a little bit, then I use my aura, which is like permanent, but like slows your cooldowns, but of course the lance doesn't have a cooldown, so I just start like drilling people with the lance. I've got stuff that like, in doing biotic detonations and stuff, I've got stuff that regenerates my shields. So it's sort of like I've always liked sort of the blood magic-y build, or like warlock, where it like hurts you in some way, but does like more damage. So it's sort of like high risk, high reward kind of stuff. So that's been a lot of fun because for a long time it would just really suck. And I'd go in and I'd try to do it and I'd just die instantly. So I'd be like, "Oh, my shields are gone. I'm dead. Fuck." But that's been real cool because it finally kind of clicked and started working. I think I got a little bit better at it too because it's sort of the order you want to use the abilities in, and watching your shields. And then other than that, I've been watching. Jen started playing. She finished Zelda, really loved it, and now she's like feeling a sense of loss because she just played through like 3 really great games, Horizon, Mass Effect, and
Spoiled
Zelda.
now, yeah.
And now she's got like Shadow of Mordor, which is a solid game, but like those games are really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, Horizon and Zelda are on another level, and then Mass Effect is still a quite good game, and then Shadow of Mordor just is just a little bit less there. Like the gameplay is really fun, but she was a little frustrated at the start, but like I really love seeing, now she's like really getting into it, and I love to see the Nemesis system play out, because it kind of happens where like enemies who defeat you get more powerful, and then they go up in ranks and they get new abilities and they kind of go over. So like she started off and died to this like map keeper Skog or something, and then he leveled up a little bit, and when she was kind of learning the game, he just started, he killed her several times just by luck, but now he's like level 20 and he's like a warlord now. By far the most powerful orc in the army, and she got like this close to killing him the other day, and this is great. I love it. She was disappointed because she almost killed him, but like he ended up like scarred or whatever, and they have all the unique dialogue options and stuff. So she sees him and he's like, "Oh, I thought I killed you last time," and then she like fucking like detonates a bonfire next to him, and it like permanently scars his face. So like he'll, next time she sees him, he's like, "You burned me last time," but blah blah blah. I just think that's pretty awesome because there's just like a lot of emergent. It's a really interesting game because story is pretty shallow. I mean, there's some decent lore in there, but like it's pretty shallow because there's not that many friendly NPCs. But the emergent gameplay, I think, is a really cool part of that game. So that's been pretty fun to watch, honestly.
That whole Nemesis system is pretty amazing. But like, there's one funny complaint that I would see is like people that were good at the game, they just wouldn't die, and so they would never see any of it. Like, because you have to die in order for these ranks to go up. It's like pretty funny how that happens.
That's what I was thinking too. It's funny how when you die, they get stronger. Like, it's not the other way around. Like, you defeat them, they retreat, and they come back stronger for vengeance. No, like, you die, and then they get stronger, and you presumably just stay the same strength.
Yeah.
Which I think is funny.
And there are all kinds of, like, I love the infighting. Like, it's a really, it's sort of a living, breathing world where the ranks are changing and stuff, and orcs are challenging each other to duels, and you can and you see what's going on in the map at any given time. You find like weaknesses for the different orcs. They all look different. It's really cool. They all look totally different, and you could kill some warlord, and like new orcs show up, and I don't know if they're all like designed by hand and there's just a ton of them, or they're somehow randomized, but they all have names, and like when you fight them, they have dialogue that relates to him. So, I'm fighting the Beastmaster. He says things about his beasts, and he's dressed like the Beastmaster, and his face looks totally different. And you start fighting him, and like this music in the background, they're like chanting "Skog, Skog, Skog." So like you kill people. I mean, you kill the orcs, and then new ones come to replace them. And I don't know where the procedural generation starts, and like the methodical curation ends, because like I can't tell the difference. For all I know, I'm like, each of these guys just seems like totally crafted.
I think that's what makes really good random generation, right?
Yeah, I think so. Where you can't tell, where you don't know where the line ends. But it's shallow in other ways, but what they do right is super unique, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with the next one, because that's coming out pretty soon. So it's a good time to be kind of checking it out again.
Yeah, I was looking forward to the second one, and then I thought, like, you know, I never played the first one. I guess I've played it vicariously through others. I don't know. I just watched it, and it looks great.
You should try it. Yeah, it's a good game. I think it was like really, really good in its time, but it just kind of became a standard action game afterwards. Like, it was one of those games where like everybody was freaking out about it when it first came out, and then it kind of fell off, and now people don't really look on it too fondly for some reason.
Mm-hmm. It like fell away really, really fast. I think.
Yeah, I think people realized like, wow, this is kind of just like a normal third-person action game with like not really a whole lot of depth to it. But the Nemesis system is fucking amazing. So like, that's such a cool system.
Yeah, it's not just a gimmick though. That's the thing. It seems so cool, and I think some people would be quick to be like, the game sucks. It's just this gimmick, but it's not. I mean, it really does prop the game up significantly. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that they do the procedural part so well. The lines are blurred so well. You know, there's lots of obviously curated pieces in quests or whatever, like someone becomes a new warlord, but you have sort of a unique quest to kind of draw them out. You know, when you challenge the warlords, who can be replaced, then it you know, changes the game in a whole new way. Like they'll say like, oh well, you have to grab his supporter and you know, hold him, and he'll kind of scream, and if you have him scream long enough, then the warlord will be drawn out to protect him. Or you'll, you know, it'll be something else like, oh, the Beastmaster, you have to let all of his Karagors out, and then he comes to sort of wrangle them. And so I don't know, I think that's all it's all part of the gameplay. I think you know, the RPG elements are pretty deep in terms of how you build your character. Like, you have your bow, your dagger, and your sword, you know, stealth and combat and ranged, and they all, you know, you get runes, and you're sort of like forging the legend of a unique sword, just sort of like, you know, Sting in Lord of the Rings and these other, you know, mythical swords and things. And then on top of that, you have your abilities, and you have the Wraith's abilities, because you're sort of combining the two. So I think just it does gameplay really, really, really well, but storyline-wise, it can get a little bit shallow. The areas are similar, so I hope that they touch on those. I think they're saying the second one is in Mordor as well. Like, I kind of wish that it took place in other areas. I could get really excited about that if it was like, oh, you're going to like the Elven Woods, or you're going to, you know, the Kingdoms of Men or something like that.
Doesn't it kind of suck though that it's restricted just because it's called Shadow of Mordor? They're like, well, I guess we can't put it anywhere else.
Yeah, and for all I know, maybe they're going to, but I do think that Mordor is the core area in the second one, and I was a little disappointed to hear that, because I think it would be really, I mean, I get that because of the way the Nemesis system works, they want orcs all over the place, but I think they could figure out a way to do it and just change the environments up a little bit, have some more friendly NPCs to enrich the story a little bit. I think it could be really awesome.
It's just especially weird because based on what we know from the story, which is not much, admittedly, but it's like, oh, you're crafting a new ring, like a separate ring, and then at the end you presumably just like kill Sauron or something. Like, oh, this is a strange deviation from existing Lord of the Rings. Stuff like that. It's just so weird. I think we talked about this in a previous week, but like, where do you really go? You know, there's like this giant fight with you know, already established characters going on, and then like, oh, you're here too, and you also defeat the big bad guy, but nobody ever has talked about you ever in any previous iteration of Lord of the Rings. We're just gonna like shoehorn you in here somehow. It's kind of like the Force Unleashed, that kind of stuff. It's just weird.
I like how they really they steered in. I think maybe it was the Force Unleashed DLC. I don't remember, where they really steered into it, and they're like, yeah, you're just gonna kill Luke now. Like, it's just like, I know that like they were probably trying to stay true to the lore, and then in some meeting, some guy was like, wait a second, what if we just had him fucking kill Luke? That'd be hilarious, right?
That would be great.
They decided to do it. You know, I think that's amazing.
I like the idea of that. I just like really goofy deviations, I agree. Like, because I'm playing a StarCraft 2 campaign right now, and the premise is it's just, like, in the main timeline, some guy has to like he visits some oracle and shows him a vision of another universe, and it's like an alternate timeline that takes place in the past of StarCraft, and things just take a different turn, and then the entire campaign is just in this alternate timeline. I would point out though, like, you don't need an excuse to do an alternate universe, in my opinion. Just start it, and people will figure it out. And I think you just can do some really cool stuff like that. It's like, yeah, we're just gonna have this guy. He's in the dark side now. And he kills Obi-Wan, and then he kills Luke, and then he kills Leia. It's just like so weird, but it's really enjoyable because it's fresh content. It's brand new, as opposed to just like, all right, Luke shoots the proton torpedoes down the exhaust port, and that's the end of every Star Wars game ever. You know, it's just, you know, make it a little different. Give us some fresh ideas. It's in the Star Wars universe. It follows the rules of the universe, and you can just see how things go like weird and wrong. I like that. You could do that with a bunch of different fandoms.
You know what's hilarious is that I was basically saying how Mordor was like, oh, the next game is going to be in Mordor and stuff, and then I went and I'm looking, they released a gameplay reveal, and it looks like there will actually be some other areas, like Osgiliath, which I think was part of Gondor, and they're saying, like, just like we were talking about, like oh, they could still find a way to have it. They're saying it fell into ruin after like Sauron's forces attacked, so it's the same kind of thing. Like, there's enemies everywhere, but at least it sounds like there might be some other areas. So that's pretty cool. I'm glad to hear that.
It's going to be good one.
More unique enemies, like, oh, you might be fighting against a warlock or this is ridiculous. This guy's like flying a dragon. You know, ring wraiths, things like that, ogres. So we'll see.
Okay, here's something I have a beef with the Lord of the Ring films, all right? Not the books, but the films, is the portrayal of the ring wraiths. They just fly around and scream at people. That's all they don't really do anything. They just show up and they go, blah, and everyone cowers in fear. They don't do anything.
Like, did they kill anybody? I'm trying to remember in the movies.
There's like one brief scene when they're on the flying things, and then the siege on Gondor is happening, and then one swoops down and grabs some guys and kicks them off the wall. But otherwise, for the most part, maybe it's like supposed to say like, oh, they inspire fear, but otherwise they do nothing. Like even in the first film where they're like the big baddies, they get swept away by like a river, but prior to that they just don't do anything. I don't know. It's someone's gonna correct me immediately. I know, but
I think you're right though.
It's silly.
Who kills that blonde elf guy? Do the ring wraiths kill him?
No.
I don't think.
Nope.
I can't think of like any major character killed by the ring wraiths.
They don't kill. Yeah, they definitely don't kill any major character.
And they're supposed to be the equivalent of, I mean, if not stronger than, you know, sort of the main heroes on the good side.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually really pissed about it. Brett, let's hear from you.
Oh yeah, go on, Brett.
Okay. Boy. Well, so I picked up a new Nintendo Switch game today, and it's called Puyo Puyo Tetris. And it is quite literally the game's Puyo Puyo, which is a popular Japanese style game. It's sort of like Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Time Machine, if you guys played that.
Nope.
That's like the American version of it, basically. You have to like line up a bunch of different colors and make a match and whatever. And then you got Tetris, and it's like a really, really great version of Tetris. It's very snappy. It's got a very great presentation. And then there's this fucking bonkers-ass adventure mode with this stupid story that is very strange, to say the least. It basically starts, it's this young girl, and she's like, man, it's so peaceful out, but I wish it was more exciting. You know what would be exciting? If a bunch of things started falling from the sky. Oh my god, things are falling from the sky! Like, literally, that's what's happening. And so then she's in space with these people, and she's having Tetris battles with them in order to do something. I don't really know why. I've been skipping some of the text because it's just way too out there for me, and I wanted to get to the game. But the core gameplay is really cool, and I'm really enjoying this Puyo Puyo mode. It's really focused on like doing different combos, and it's kind of hard to like explain a puzzle game without playing it, but it's worth checking out if you have a Nintendo Switch. It was only $30 to download, and it's got like a pretty full-featured online mode. It works really well. There's like no lag. It's very exciting. Exciting times. But yeah, I haven't really been playing other games though. Been dabbling with some Street Fighter again. That's pretty frustrating. And also Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I've been playing some of that too, and that game is awesome. It is so bonkers as well. Like, just the fight there, you do like 200 hit combos. I went into training mode, and you can turn on like attack data, and for some reason all of the moves do like hundreds of thousands of damage. Like, there's just no reason for that. Like,
everything's scaled up by like 1 million.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, you know, the game is just so absurd. And actually, the trailer for the new one came out today, and it also looks absurd. And I'm trying to find like an article about it, because I guess the main villain in this game he's a fusion of like Ultron and somebody else. Let me see. Yeah, there's Ultron, and I don't know. It's ridiculous, and they embrace it in those games. So I mean, it's Ultron Sigma. So it's a combination of Ultron and Sigma's from Capcom. I guess he's some big villain. Then Ultron is obviously from Marvel.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's like ridiculous. So yeah, that game's looking pretty nice. It's got a nice art style, and
I love me some Marvel vs. Capcom. Those games are pretty fun.
They're really fun, and like you can get away with like just going in and mashing with your friends, and it still looks really cool and is really fun to play. It's very satisfying to play. But when you play at a high level, like, people say to just completely avoid the online, because at least in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, because they recently re-released those on current consoles and PC. And I guess all the people that are playing online have been playing for like years and years and years.
Oh god.
And so you get it, you know, it's like you get the countdown, and you guys are walking around and getting your first position, and of course you don't know what position to be in, and then they're like methodically planning exactly where they want to be, and then they get you in this like 300 hit loop combo that like you can't get out of for the entire match. All your characters just die immediately. It's like, it's insane. So I haven't even touched the online, except for I think I played a couple matches with our boy Dan in the chat, but that's about it.
Do you think the matchmaking would eventually learn to compensate for that?
No, probably not. I think a large part of it is because the player base is probably mostly people who have played it before. So, oh jeez, that was loud. Sorry. But yeah, maybe in the new one. Yeah, I think I like to pick up fighting games if I know I'm gonna play them. I like to pick them up right when they come out, just because there's always other people learning too. It's really hard to get into a fighting game that's been out for a while, because there's always gonna be somebody out there ready to kick your ass really quickly.
Any competitive game, it feels like that. I don't know. Some people just have a knack for picking
true.
up certain genres and just destroying with them.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Granted, it only take, one person who plays it 40 hours the first week it's out, and then suddenly, they're the best person and they're in every game and kill everybody.
Yeah, Overwatch is the only competitive game that I stood a chance in for a long time. But then I didn't stop playing it for like a couple months, like 2 months or something, and now I'm terrible.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
May just stop playing.
The question is, does the matchmaking compensate? They're like, well, he was good, but it's been 6 months. Should we maybe just play some lower? I don't know.
It'd be nice,
Instead, it's like, oh, he's been gone for 6 months. Let's force him to lose for like the next 20 games straight before we make any sort of change to his matchmaking placement.
Yeah, see, that's the worst part, is because when I was playing competitive Overwatch, I was like, I think I eventually got ranked down to like 1600. And then it felt like I could like compete, and I was like, all right, well, cool, I'm matched at where I should be, but I don't want to be this low. This sucks. I suck at this game. Like, it's just a shitty feeling. I don't know. I stick to quick play. It's much better that way.
So the moral of the story is don't ever stop.
Yeah.
Don't ever stop.
Don't stop.
But other than that, on a non-gaming related note, and what's been kind of dominating my mind for the past, I mean, a couple months at least, but like in the past week, my friend and I have been seriously planning out our cooking show that we're gonna do on YouTube.
Oh shit, yeah.
So I've got this really advanced recording app for my iPhone. I got that microphone that won't fucking work with Discord, but it'll work with everything else. I was like, the reason I justified it was like, all right, well, my computer or microphone is shitting the bed, so I'll get this microphone and I can use it on my phone for Discord. But no, it's not gonna work, of course. So, but yeah, I mean, I needed a directional mic. We tried to record some stuff, and the audio was just bad because the iPhone mic isn't great.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We're gonna see what we can do. I don't know. I've been like studying other food shows and seeing how they're shooting it and what they're doing, and we've been kind of scouring away at our Google Docs for like different recipes and all sorts of fun stuff. So I don't know. We have some fun stuff planned. I think it'll be pretty interesting.
What's the inaugural recipe gonna be? What's the first one?
It'll probably have to be our egg sandwich because we both pretty much agree that it's one of the best things we've ever eaten, and we made it. So that's like pretty awesome. I can pull up the recipe here.
I say you have to describe it because I'm just
Sounds
imagining you
awesome.
frying an egg, putting it on some toast, and be like, "Hey, welcome to our cooking show.
Oh, great! I don't even.
We threw this
think
together in about 5 minutes. Hope you like it."
It's not even on this list. God damn it! He like.
If you really want to heat things up, add a slice of cheese.
We're very scatterbrained, but basically it's got like an over easy egg on this sort of like gyro, not a gyro, like a sub roll style thing.
Hero.
It's not really that though. I misspoke. It's got some cilantro, some arugula,
Ooh.
some chipotle Tabasco, a good cheddar cheese, and tomato, and like really thinly sliced tomato and really thinly sliced onion. And it just tastes really good. And so I think the key to it that makes it so good is we wrap it in tin foil once we're done like putting it all together. So that keeps it together nice and good, and you get the layers. It just it's real good.
That
You
sounds
can
great.
take
Yeah.
my word for it.
I want to try it.
I want to watch you make it, and then I'm gonna maybe follow the recipe myself and make it.
Yeah.
But I have to
So, yeah,
see
we-
you do it, so make that video.
We have an Instagram page now. If you guys want to see what we're up to, it's Nurk and Bert like food.
Nurk and Bert.
Nurk and Bert.
Well, yeah, he started calling me Bert because that's like my name but mixed around.
Oh really?
That's how
I didn't.
That's how he comes up with nicknames. It just doesn't make any sense. And then he's Nurk because it sounds like Bert. So I don't know. Check us out.
So that's been what's dominating your mind, but what's been dominating your body? Or who?
Women. I don't know.
Yeah, just women.
Dominating my body.
Just various,
Different types of women.
Eating all this food. Tomorrow we're making breakfast potato skins.
Mmm.
God damn,
So-
that sounds good.
What I'm sorry if I'm boring everybody that's listening, but I'll read off he's planning on putting in it, or we're planning on putting in it. It's poached potatoes, quail eggs, sautéed onions or shallots, probably shallots, cheese, bacon, and then a hollandaise sauce. And this is all made from
Fucking
scratch, so we're
quail
gonna
eggs.
make the hollandaise sauce. Yeah, I guess he got quail eggs today, so I didn't even know that you could get them around here.
I
So
don't think I've ever had a quail egg.
I definitely have never had a quail
Yeah,
egg,
I've
but I'm
not.
excited to try it.
This will be an experience.
It's something I only see on cooking shows. Oh, you added a
Yeah.
quail egg. Oh, well, I don't really know what that's like, but it sounds fancy, so I bet this person's going to get a high ranking because they added a quail egg.
Yeah, hey, gotta do what you gotta do to get that cheddar, And I ain't talking cheese.
So, two things. Number one, so when you were talking about your sandwich, you said thinly sliced onion. And I have a question, and this is okay if someone answers yes. But is there anyone out there, whether you two or in the chat or in the future VOD, that prefers like really thick onions? Like, hey, I'm gonna have the club sandwich, but really heavy on the onions. Like, make sure you cut those babies. Like, you're not even
Really?
peeling the layers off. Just like cut the
Cut 'em in.
full onion in half and put it on the sandwich. Is there anyone out there that's like that?
Well, so I mean,
Because that's disgusting.
I think you're gonna get a lot of no's. But I mean, basically, like when you cut an onion, it's always gonna be thin, right? Like, but we're trying to go like really thin, like paper thin, so that it almost kind of like melts into the sandwich, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Hell yeah.
Gotta get them sharp knives.
And we're on the topic of baking shows, or cooking shows, rather. And
yeah, let's keep it going. I love
and
this.
Tara's been watching the Great British Baking Show.
Oh,
And I've never really watched many cooking shows because I always thought cooking shows, this is stupid. And let me tell you, cooking shows are awesome.
Yeah.
You get super hooked. Keith, I know you used to watch the Food Channel all the time, and I totally get it. And it's funny because every time I've watched a cooking show, I'm like, oh, I could get into this. This is enjoyable. And then anytime I take a break from the cooking show, I just think, like, this is dumb.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, I should know better.
It's so accessible. Like, you start watching and you will not stop. But yet, it's not something that, like, oh, I gotta make sure to tune in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's so strange in that way. But, like, we were in Philadelphia, Jen and I, and, you know, so we watched cable, which we don't normally, like, we don't do that often because I don't have cable in my place. But we'll watch specific shows. So we were just sort of flipping through and we were on Food Network, and it happened to be like an early episode of I think it was called Kids Bake Off.
I've heard of that.
and I was like, this is stupid. And by the time it finished, I was like, that's bullshit. Yoshimabet totally should have won. Her cooking style is much more mature, you can tell. She has class, she has restraint. Not like Mikey. His cake was a mess. I don't care how many layers it was. Do one layer well.
I agree, though. You get totally into it. And on the British show that we watched, at least, everything was very composed and everyone was really friendly. And like anytime someone got voted off, everyone hugged. And like at the end, all their families came and all the previous contestants came and they had like a little picnic. It was really wholesome. And also every single season that I've only watched 2 of the seasons, but every single season has had somebody on it who could just be like an Abercrombie and Fitch model. And I just think, like, why are these people on a baking show? Like, I know for sure that they're gonna have some sort of career after this because they're just like the most attractive people. It makes no sense.
I've been baking cupcakes for about 40 years.
Anyway,
6-pack. Well, I gotta keep this going just a tiny bit. If food is like totally in right now, it seems like. Yeah, I don't know if you guys scroll down Facebook at all, but you've probably seen like Tasty and all those other videos. And I think I actually BuzzFeed does Tasty, but I think Tasty is like one of the best ones out there right now because they're very quick and like succinct. I really like how like to the point they are. They're so short, but like they're really good recipes too. They're like really cool. There's a lot of knockoffs, but I think Tasty does it pretty well.
And you keep seeing those like top-down recipe videos.
Yeah,
like
that's exactly what they're doing.
Is that what Tasty? Yeah.
They started it pretty much, and then everybody else has just kind of picked up on it and has been doing, you know, like 14-layer lasagna with chocolate inside. It's like that's not good. It's just, and then everybody falls for it, but it's just so dumb. But there's also another show called Fuck That's Delicious on Viceland. And it's starring the rapper Action Bronson, and he is an incredible human being, and he's actually like an amazing chef as well. And I highly recommend that you guys at least watch like a clip or an episode of that show because it's infectious. That show is so good, and it's you just gotta see it.
I don't want an infection.
I'm sorry.
Ah!
I didn't mean to scare you.
You know, do something like those top-down GIF recipes, but like, you know, maybe instead of doing a GIF, it could be like a long sort of drawn-out thing with individual pictures or a video so that you can actually follow it.
Like a PowerPoint?
And make it. No, like some sort of like written, like you write it down, the recipe, and then maybe like have like a video that shows how to make it. Instead of
just... Keith, that's innovative and brilliant.
That is brilliant. That is the future of the internet and television.
I actually did have another idea like that. It's like a bug doctor, where like you could bring if your bugs are sick, you bring them to the bug doctor. If they have like sort of a wrinkled carapace, Did you, or a stinky thorax? Did you know that actually stink bugs don't actually exist? That's just a bee, a common bee with a stinky thorax. Take him to the bug doctor, then he'll fix him up.
What the hell, Keith?
And, you can take my first idea. Please don't steal my second idea, because I've been working on this for a while.
I won't.
Do you still write down stand-up ideas that you occasionally get? Because I feel like that's a good one right there.
I don't know. I kind of feel like if I said that in front of a crowd, there'd be dead silence. But I do. I have a Google Doc that has some on there. I tried to like order them. I still haven't done it, and I'm going to. I think it's like 20% fear and 80% laziness. But
I get it.
Do it.
You could do it. Go to an open mic night. Fuck it.
I'm gonna do it somewhere where I don't know anybody.
What's stopping you? Think about that.
I mean, I got this bug doctor business. It's really taking up a lot of time. It just seems good on paper, but like they're so small, you know?
Okay, anonymous guy says if he goes heavy on olives and lettuce and tomato, he'd add extra onions. That is a situation where I think more than onions, because your veggies in general are being added to, right? But I'm thinking of a situation where you just want onions. Like, I'll have the BLT, but no bacon, lettuce, or tomato, just a full onion, please. I don't know. Some people, it's like, what do you like dominant on your sandwich? And are there people that they want that dominant onion? I don't know. They like the texture. Probably smell like shit, though.
I'm gonna open a restaurant called the Dominant Onion.
I like that a lot.
Fuck the shallot out of you. Was that dominant enough?
That was funny.
Keith, what is your favorite? What is or was your favorite cooking show?
Oh, well, I'll tell you what it wasn't, but I did enjoy it, and a lot of people do. And I think of my real answer, but a lot of people really enjoy Ace of Cakes. But
oh, yeah.
He'll be like, is that? Yeah, that's right. That's Duff's, right?
Duff, yeah. Is that around still, or?
No, he's doing other stuff on the Food Network. Like he helped host Kids Bake Off, but it'll be something like they'll get an order, and it was like the house shows sort of, where it's like always the same thing. They probably just assume you're like, okay, well, people watch like one episode of this every 3 months, so they don't know. But they'll be like, oh my God, we have to make the Eiffel Tower out of cake. Newsflash, they fucking do it easily. Like, they pretend like it takes a while. It's like, I saw you make E.T. last week. Like, big deal.
Man.
I always thought it was silly because it's like, yeah, okay, you can make anything out of cake. You can make it look like whatever you want.
Yeah, those shows suck, and the cakes are basically inedible. They're like covered in styrofoam and like
exactly.
All this, it's like,
well, okay, the core of it is like pure wood.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it wouldn't stand up, and the rest of it's like bad cake. And
there's like a totem in the middle.
Yeah, but I loved Chopped. I loved Iron Chef.
Oh, yeah.
Those are classics. But just because I like the secret ingredient part of it, because I always like to think, oh, what would I make? What would I make? And sometimes you get the chance to do that when you have a bunch of old food that you have to get out of your fridge. Like you're about to go on vacation or something, and you're like, well, all this is going to go bad. Huh. A flatbread? Just put all of it on it?
You've got pickled chicken feet, a package of Cadbury eggs, and a stalk of celery. Well, I made a foie gras with a side of tapenade. Chopped was good, but I feel like the stories completely ruined that show. They focus so much on these crybabies, and it's always the fucking crybabies who win.
Yeah. It's like the judges are too afraid to be harsh to them because they're like
Yeah.
tearing up. They're just like, oh, it was pretty good, and then the person starts crying. They're like, I said it was pretty good, but no, it was really good. You know, they just slowly give in to this person tearing up.
There was a lot of great craftsmanship. I mean, the eggs were, you know.
You know.
But yeah, I'll tell you, like, well, yeah, you wish they would just say something like, someone's crying because they lost, and they're like, come on, it's just a dumb show. Like, it doesn't matter. We're not giving away a restaurant. Like, there's a million of these.
In fact, even coming in last place, your career is probably better than it was.
Yeah, just be happy that you're invited. You always know where there's those, like, you know, once someone gets eliminated every episode or something, and it always starts off and they're like, I own a vegan bakery and I'm here to show that vegan food can be just as good. Chopped.
Yeah, you're gone immediately.
So long. It's like, vegan food is fine, but like,
you're not winning no contest with it.
You're not going to win this contest.
Man. Food rules. I'm glad we're talking about this.
I know. I'll talk about food every week, man.
I got super into food shows when I was like 13 or 14, just sitting in front of Food Network like all night. Love it.
Yeah, man. Just make like plan what day, like a month out or something. Be like, all right, this is gonna be our first episode, and then we'll get everything ready. I'd love to see it. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, dog.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna film tomorrow, and it's not gonna be like super official.
Sweet, man.
I think we're gonna have a third party come and help us film when we're like wanting to do our official episodes. But I'm gonna try to like whip something together because I need to sort of brush up on like video editing and getting the right lighting and all that. So
third party? You didn't even invite me to the first two.
I'm sorry. I should have.
One of my favorite things about cooking shows, and Brett, I expect this out of yours once it comes out, is I would say at least 1/3 of the time, if not more, I don't know what any of the ingredients or final product even are supposed to be, but they talk about it with such confidence, and the judges are always like, and I just think, I guess this would be pretty good. And sometimes I'll see it, and I just think, like, that looks disgusting. I don't want that. Example, and this is more of a cultural thing than the fact that it's, I don't understand it. Well, I guess that's also a cultural thing, is I don't get it. Can someone explain to me the appeal of, like, a deep British meat pie? Because those just look fucking disgusting. Why are you emulsifying your meat and putting it in a pie? I would much rather eat just a whole chicken breast rather than grind it into a paste and bake it into a pie. That is disgusting, and I apologize to any UK viewers out there, but I demand you explain this to me.
I think they'll be okay.
Well, I just heard, we just learned, like, literally yesterday what aspic was. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's a meat jelly, and I don't know if it's from, like, UK or what, but, like, you make, like, meat stock. So first of all, it takes a ton of work, because you make a meat stock, which kind of takes a long time, because you got to boil this shit for a really long time, and then you, like, triple or quadruple purify it. Like, you evaporate out the other crap and spoon it out and put it through a mesh sieve, and then let it chill in the freezer 3 separate times, and then take the fat off the top. And the end goal is a meat jelly served cold. It's just because the gelatin in the meat makes it hard, so you're just having cold jelly broth. All that fucking work. It's not even a meal. You could eat unlimited of that and it wouldn't fill you up, and it's gross, and it takes an ass load of work. And that's what I thought of when you were telling me about, like, emulsifying your meat pies and shit. Like gelatin's good, melt it. Like, if it's not a dessert, oh my god.
Ugh. Yeah, I don't get it. There's a few things that I've seen. Again, it seems more of a UK or possibly European thing, but something about, like, liquefying meat and adding it to things just seems so disgusting to me. And again, it's more of a cultural thing, I didn't grow up eating emulsified meat, nor do I think anyone ever should, but, people do, and then they make meat pies, and they think that other people would like those meat pies, and they're wrong.
Well, hey, let me run this by you, and I'll preface this again by saying I hope not to offend any of the British out there, but do you really ever hear about British cuisine?
I think it's like a. I think
really.
it's sort of like a joke. Like people talk about British cuisine and how it's not good.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the crux of it. You know, nothing against it. It's different. I mean, there's plenty of cultures out there with tons of different food. Like, that's the beauty of it, right? I mean, that's what's beautiful is that British food is disgusting, but that's how it is.
The beautiful thing is that they can get up in the morning and eat a piece of dry toast for breakfast and not put anything on it.
Wait, what? That's a thing?
Get like a continental breakfast and it'll just be like no butter. I don't know. Sometimes they'll put beans on it, which is kind of cool. I eat some beans for breakfast.
Butter beans?
But yeah, I don't know. And you hear about French cuisine a lot, but it's like hard to think of French dishes, at least for me. And then we started looking it up. I was like, what, like bread or like, I mean, dessert, sure, but like, and then it turns out, I mean, there's like beef bourguignon and like coq au vin, and the key element is like every French dish starts the same. You like saute a bunch of bacon in a big pot, and then like dump a bottle of wine in it.
Yep.
And then just put whatever else, you know, just put whatever else you have. Chicken, beef, just nothing. And then eat it. It's delicious. And it is.
Yeah.
Cooking's fun. Cooking's interesting.
It is.
It sucks
I feel like
because
I've been
it's
learning a lot lately.
yeah, it's one of those things like it's kind of like learning an instrument or like playing piano, something that's impressive that you can do, and it's just like, yeah, if I could do that, people would think that's cool, and it would also be really rewarding personally. It's cooking, instrument, anything like that. But every day I get home from work, I just think like, is there any excuse that I can make to not feel like a piece of shit, but also not have to make dinner in some, you know what I mean? Like,
No,
can I order food and not feel like a piece of shit today? Every day. And we don't order food every day. We only order once or twice a week. But again, I try to think of the excuse every day. But like on the weekends, it's like, maybe I wish I learned how to, you know, be a better cook. But my actions just don't reflect that, you know?
I mean, yeah, I don't really cook outside of when I cook with my friend, but I mean, we do go pretty hard in the paint when we do. We go pretty wild, making stuff. Like one time
in the paint.
we made really awesome wings for a party, and people like loved them. And I think we're planning on doing that as one of our things as well. I don't know if you want to hear what's in our sauces.
I would love to hear about your sauces, Brett.
But I'm gonna say it anyway. So, all right. So my sauce that I came up with has lime juice, chili paste, apricot preserves, sea salt, cilantro, and a dash of maple syrup.
Hell
Just
yeah.
a dash.
It's nuts. It's like a flavor I've never tasted before, but it's awesome.
Man.
And then my friend's is a little more like run of the mill, like Asian style. So he's got chicken broth, honey and brown sugar, soy. I don't know what terry is, but it's got terry in it. Sesame oil, orange juice. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. That's right. That's my cousin. And rice vinegar, fish sauce, and lemongrass.
Does he know
got
that
like
you
a
think it's run of the mill?
What?
Does he know that you think his sauce is just run of the mill?
Maybe. I mean, I guess I don't mean it that way. I mean, it has like a more standard flavor,
Traditional.
and mine's like kind of nutty.
I see.
But they both
Yes, my name is Ronald DeMille.
got eaten, all of them. So that was good.
You know what would be like a cool hook for it is just be like, all right, we're food prepping for our party tonight. You make like a bunch of shit, and you're saying like, oh yeah, people like bite-sized stuff. People like whatever. We're gonna, you know, and sort of like a bro, like not bro-y, but you know what I mean. Like, like cooking is cool. We're like party serving for our party or something. And then like you could take some videos of people eating the food later. Just put it like right at the end.
Yeah.
You better invite us though.
Yeah.
You guys would be invited. We're
I'm
planning on
saying-
doing like
Make a lot of food and invite us to a party.
we're planning on doing like food parties because we usually throw parties in the summer anyways. He's got a really good backyard with like a good fire area. So we want to like make it about the food and tell people to come hungry and stuff. Because usually we just get like a bunch of taquitos and pizza rolls and like nobody eats anything. So we want to let people know like the whole point is to eat the food that we're making so that you can tell us how it is. And I'll probably film all that stuff too. That'll be fun.
Well, I won't need to watch the film because I'll be invited and I'll be there. Just emphasizing again, Brett.
You guys are more than welcome to travel down or up or sideways anytime. That would be fun. Be a party.
Would be party.
He was actually supposed to come out and hang out with us in Boston, but he never did.
Ugh. Man! Oh, man.
Pissed.
Rip off.
Pissed. Pissed. I am pissed.
I'm still mad. You know, remember when we did that podcast that's lost for all time because I didn't record audio, and I complained about PAX. And I, in retrospect, I realized I think the reason that I came it's because my last memory of PAX was being stuck in traffic on a bus, and something about that, you know, it's just like the final thought of PAX was just sitting on a bridge right outside of New York City, close to rush hour, behind an accident, and thinking like the longer we're here, it's going to take exponentially longer because it's slowly becoming rush hour. And that was like the last thought I had about PAX, and that's why I
get me the fuck out of here.
Exactly. I just thought like I just want to go home, and then I got off the bus and I had to walk. It was at least 10 blocks to get to the subway to get to the train station. I should have just taken an Uber, but it was rush hour, and I feel like it would have taken just as long. Ugh.
Well, I mean, or think of it this way. More time is going on, and it was an adventure, so now you're thinking about it with rose-colored glasses and saying, like, oh, maybe I was too harsh on it.
That's fair, yeah.
But, no, I mean, I think, like, you know, it's you take the good with the bad, and I think, like, I'm actually pretty excited to, like, try for next time. We'll probably have a little gap before, like, our next one, but, you know, we'll try to really sort of hit the ground running and, like, see if we can get some appointments, and we'll try for press badges, see what happens. But we'll do some planning and try to do it right.
We are professional journalizers.
And journal and toasts.
And journal and toasts.
And Brett's a journal and toast.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be in his presence.
Yeah, you should be.
I feel like the whole podcast was an anecdote. I'm trying to think, maybe is there a different anecdote?
Oh no, there's plenty of anecdotes there with the cooking show and recipes and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, dude, it's been 66 weeks. If we can't take one full week to just talk about food, I don't know what the fuck this is supposed to be. Okay?
That's true. Oh please, it's my pleasure.
A good one.
Talk about food for all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how into food I am until like me and my friend have started cooking recently, and I'm glad this is the direction things are going, because it's making me happy. It's making me feel a little fulfilled.
Nice.
That I'm doing something productive with my time.
You know, I didn't realize how into food I was until the other day I was eating a hamburger, and I just thought, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself, like, damn, I've been doing this for a long time. This rules.
First person in the chat that says I love meat pie will get a JayborinoPlays heart and pin. Not in the chat here, but in the YouTube comments. Anybody who's watched this far.
Damn it.
Say Brett was right on top of that shit. I can't even pin you in Twitch chat.
Twitch exclusive.
Also, you have to be part of my $2,000 Patreon tier. It's one of the perks.
It's really worth it. I mean, if you think about all the bonuses and premium content that you get,
$2,000 a month.
You can't afford not
for
$2,000.
Oh man.
Thanks. You know, shout out to people in the chat who said I love meat pie before I clarified that it was the YouTube chat. You all get credit. I would pin you if I could. Kyle, Anonymous. It looks like Electron Kid was thinking about typing it. He was in the middle of it. And then he said, dang.
They know where to be on Sunday when the VOD airs, you know?
Exactly.
You guys know where to be.
You got a hot tip.
Be there right at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. You throw down that comment. First person. Hey, well, thanks for joining us this week. It was a good one. And, you know, I'd like it if more of the podcasts were like, you know, just we pick a topic that we all feel strongly about, like cooking and meat pies. And it's nice, you know, branching out a little bit. We can only talk about Zelda so much until Keith plays it.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that reminds me. Let's talk about Zelda a little bit.
My wife, Tara shouted from the other room. She's like, why are you talking about meat pies in there? Oh, yeah, no, she agrees. She just said, who likes them? I just no, they don't like meat pies.
I think I like meat pie, but I haven't had it in a
Brett's
very long
saying he thinks he likes meat pies.
But see, it's back to how I have a lot of Portuguese cuisine around here. I think
that's
it's
fair.
like a special Portuguese meat pie that is tasty.
Yeah.
Well, let me say this is like, don't grind. I mean, maybe there's exceptions here. I'm trying to think. Don't grind any meat that's not beef. Ground beef, but like, don't. It's weird to me when you go to a restaurant or something. It's supposed to be like gourmet. They take some really expensive like meat or something like ground shrimp, ground salmon, and it's like you like took a really expensive piece of meat and made it a little bit gross. Because ground beef is like the only, maybe like ground pork and meatloaf. I don't really know. I mean, it's not like my favorite, but like, I just think why grind it? It makes me think that you have something to hide. Like you took a weird Why are you grinding salmon? What was
wrong with the salmon?
You're trying to hide. Yeah.
Oh,
Did
man.
you make it into a moose, you creep? A pink moose? That's like disgusting. Anyway, I had that on a cruise ship. Ugh.
I'm disgusted just thinking about it right now.
Oh man.
It's the Damage Per Second podcast signing out.
Goodbye.
Sign out.